All right. Thanks, Will. Just got back from a great day at Busch Gardens. Didn't have time to shower, so I apologize. Usually I wear the sport coat and tie for you guys. But we're excited to be here. We got here earlier today. Our team had a great time at Busch Gardens, and we're looking forward to a great week in Tampa. Again, want to thank the executive director, Scott Glazer. I want to thank Carrollwood Day School for allowing us to use the facilities. And like every bowl trip, we want this to be a really good mix of fun and business. And the fun part of it is our guys have earned a bowl, and we want them to enjoy the bowl experience. But the best way to enjoy the bowl experience is by winning the game. So we're focused on that. Again, today was a day to enjoy themselves, and we'll get back at it tomorrow morning. We had 3 good Missouri practices on campus. And then today we're not practicing, and we'll get 2 more and a walkthrough in before the game on Friday. Again, appreciate all the Wake Forest fans. I think we've just about sold out our bowl allotment. And, every time we go to a bowl, our fans show up and continue to do a great job of supporting our program. And, it's great to have so much support in Tampa. We felt it last year in Jacksonville, and the year before that was COVID. And but the Pinstripe Bowl, Military Bowl, Belk Bowl, all those bowls, we've been very well supported by our fan base. December has probably become the busiest month of the year for a football coach. It was always busy between recruiting and a bowl game. And then you throw in the early signing date, and you throw in the transfer portal. And so it's nice to be back with our team. We're in a dead period now, and you're kind of back in game mode and focused on what we need to do to be successful on Friday. So with that, I'll open it up for questions.
Hey, Coach, do you still anticipate full participation in the bowl from your players? Nobody sitting out?
Not full participation. Christian Turner is not going to play in the game. And this is just an unfortunate part of the calendar. He really wanted to play. But there were a couple of schools recruiting him, and the only time that they would visit him was this weekend, which, were our bowl practices. So I didn't think it was fair to the rest of the players who were there. And he had to make a choice. Do I go visit a school I might be playing at next year, or do I finish the season with my team? And again, it's just another way that our calendar right now doesn't work, because he wanted to play in the game. But these other schools said, if you don't visit this weekend, we're not going to have anything for you. And unfortunately, he's not going to play. And then the other guy that decided not to play was Ja'Cory Johns.
Coach Skip Foreman with the Winston-Salem Journal. Good afternoon.
Hey, Skip, how are you?
We're fine, sir. To the end that Christian Turner can't play because this was a either-or situation, how much is your lineup impacted by his absence, and who's going to fill the void? It's obviously a next man up situation for you.
Well, again, Quentin, Christian was one of 3 guys playing for us this year. And so, Justice Ellison is the starter, and he'll get the bulk of the reps. Quentin Cooley will play, and we'd be able to get Will Towns and Damon Claiborne a lot more reps. And those guys may get more time. So we'll be fine. Christian really wasn't a guy who was on a lot of special teams. And so the impact is the 30 snaps that he played at tailback, and he did a great job for us. And we wish he could play in the game, but between Quentin Cooley, Will Towns, and Damon Claiborne, we'll be fine. And at defensive end, I mean, Kendron Wayman, I mean, really was he split the game anyways. And so between Rondell and Jasheen and Kendron, and it's allowed us to get BJ Williams more reps. And BJ has had a great month. I mean, really has stepped up his play, and he'll probably play a little bit more than he has. So again, we wish those guys would play, but that is just the nature of college football right now and the calendar and the way it works. But relatively speaking, I feel we're in really good shape.
Dave, walk me through what's Busch Gardens like for Dave Clawson, and then on a serious note, what does Missouri do well that has you concerned going into Friday's game?
Well, Busch Gardens I was there with my wife Catherine and my son Eric, and my son Eric loves to go on roller coasters, and my wife Catherine will not go on roller coasters. So right now, I'm suffering from vertigo, dizziness. I thought I was going to puke, so I went on a few more roller coasters than I would choose to. And, my wife just laughed at me when I got off them because I was dizzy and my stomach did not feel good. So I'm in recovery mode now. Missouri's a really good football team. And I'm not just saying that because we're playing them and it's not just coach speak, but I said this when we got the matchup. We're an overtime game and 2 one-score games from being a 10-2 team. And if you look at Missouri, their loss to Auburn was heartbreaking when their running back tried to stretch the ball out in overtime. That was really a game they should have won. They were up 10 points against Georgia and up 4 points or whatever with 4 minutes left in the game. They played Georgia better than anybody this year, and that was a one-score game. And they lost to Kentucky by 4, and they lost to Florida by a touchdown. So they're kicking themselves the same way we are, saying, with a little better execution in the fourth quarter, these could be 2 10-win teams meeting in a New Year's Six Bowl. So they play in a great division. I've known Eli for years when he was at NC State. I love their quarterback. Their quarterback, I think, he's a great player, Cook. I mean, his athleticism, they do a lot in the quarterback run game with him, quarterback draws, his scrambling ability. Even with Lovett out, Luther Burden was as highly recruited as receivers as there was in the country a year ago. And the back, Schrader, was Division II All-American and led them in rushing. And their left tackle, I think it's Foster. He's a second team All-SEC player, and their O-line, another veteran O-line. They got 111 starts. And then you look on defense, and they're giving up 25 points a game. And you take out the 66 they gave up to Tennessee, and that number even looks better. I mean, they're outstanding on defense. And even with some of the guys sitting out, the Rakestraw kid, we think's the best corner that we've faced all year. He's long, PBUs, great cover ability. The linebacker Hopper is really, really productive. And they're really good up front. I mean, this is a legitimate SEC front. So, you don't get to a bowl game and ever play a team that's not good. But these guys easily could be a 10-win team in the SEC.
Dave, I don't think we've gotten to talk to you since Missouri lost their offensive coordinator. I mean, there's not really a lot of X's and O's there, but is that something you got to really take advantage of in terms of like halftime adjustments? Or like, what is kind of the thought process when adjusting something like that?
I mean, Eli's called their offense until 3 weeks ago. So he was calling all the plays until 3 weeks ago. And so, for him to jump back into that seat can't be too hard. I mean, I'm sure he's in every offensive meeting and it's his offense. It's not the situation that we had a year ago that I was calling defenses for the first time ever. So, they'll be fine. It's his offense. He's called plays for probably 15 years. And again, the other coordinator was calling Eli's offense, not his own. And if you look at the last 3 games, they were a little less multiple than the first 9, but given the time you have for a bowl prep, I mean, I'm sure we'll see the kitchen sink.
Coach, do you remember what roller coaster you were on?
Hey, Eric, what roller coaster was it? What was the first roller coaster we went on? Iron Wazi. Oh, man. That thing went straight up and then straight down. We were inverted. And my stomach went right to my throat. And then the second one was the one that you went upside down again. And after that, like, I'm done. So the last time I did that, I used to wear the bracelets that people would wear on boats for seasickness. And I think I went through like 3 packs of ginger gum, and none of that works.
Not to be trite, but the roller coaster is sort of a metaphor, because you were doing well and you hit the downside of the roller coaster in this season, and now you're trying to level it out and have a good finish. What's the challenge of trying to write it and get it ready for 2023 using this bowl game as a launch pad? I mean, the bowl game to me is more than anything, it kind of creates the memory for the season. And we were disappointed last year. We didn't win the ACC championship, but to get together one more time and go to the Gator Bowl and win that game, that becomes the last memory of the season, not win